Hello, Elly here from Thankful Flow Yoga. Thank you so much for joining me for this all levels wake up flow. So I recommend having a couple of blocks with you today. If you don't have a block, you could use a book or something like that instead. And we're going to come down and get started in a comfortable seated position. So today we're going to be looking at waking up the whole body. So stretching, strengthening, balancing, leaving you feeling nicely awake, but also a sense of being grounded and re-centered as well. So coming into that comfortable seated position, and just relax your arms and your hands, have them in comfortable position, and then close down your eyes or take a steady gaze out in front. And we'll begin with option to set an intention for your practice today. So you can either set an intention, something that's personal to you, that you'd like to bring in. Or maybe you'd like to offer this practice today to someone else that needs this energy. And then I want you to start to notice the ground underneath you. Let the sitting bones sink down into the earth. Notice where your hands are connected to another part of your body or the ground. And let the shoulders soften. Begin to release anything that came before this practice today. And we'll start with taking 3 rounds of releasing breaths. So on the inhale, I'll count for 3 and we'll breathe in through the nose. And on the exhale, just sighing it out. Make as much or as little noise as you want to. So inhaling for 1, 2, 3. Exhale, release. Inhale for 1, 2, 3. Exhale, release. Inhale for 1, 2, 3. Exhale, release. And come back to your natural breathing. You can begin to open the eyes if you had them closed. And we'll start to shake out the hands, the wrists, the arms. Imagine shaking off and releasing anything that is simply no longer needed. Letting that go. So keep shaking out the hands, and then we're going to bring the palms of the hands facing upwards, hands out in front, and close the eyes again for a moment. Notice if you can feel anything in the hands, the fingers, the arms. Scan your awareness into this area. Could be some tingling feelings, a little bit of energy. If there's not, that's okay too. Just observe whatever you observe. Relax the arms, open the eyes, and we're going to brush in a downwards motion, brushing down on the top of your arm. And then start to work your way down to the lower part of the arm and the hands. This might feel a little bit strange if you're not used to it. But imagine that you're brushing off some dust that's got all over your arm, and go onto the other arm now, so the left arm. So brushing down, brushing off this dust. Make your way all the way down onto the hand. And then relax both arms, flutter the eyes closed. And see if you can notice the arms, the hands. Notice the skin, how the skin feels. Anything you can feel waking up in this area. Imagining like it's all these little lights switching on as we shine our awareness into the body. Opening the eyes back up now. We'll inhale, reach both fingertips up to the ceiling. Take the right hand to the left wrist. And on the exhale, take a big stretch over to the right. Breathe down into the left side of the body. Inhale back to center, switch it over. Left hand comes to right wrist. And on your exhale, take a stretch over to the left side. Breathe into that right side body now. Feel the rib cage expanding with your breath. And come back to center. Well done. Make your way into tabletop position. You might need a little bit of space surrounding your mat today. We're going to bring this right leg out to the side. So inside of the right foot is maybe connecting to the mat. And walk the hands in, coming up into a high kneeling position. You're going to bring your block and you're going to place it over to your left side, okay? So just placing it over to the left side, ready there in whichever setting you wish. Right hand's going to start with resting on the right leg. Inhale, reach the left fingertips up, lift up and out from the waist. As you exhale, stretch over to the right. Inhale, come all the way back up and over, and then float your left hand down to either a block or maybe the mat. Reach the right arm up, bring it up maybe towards that right ear, reaching up to the ceiling. So inhale, release, right hand floats to right thigh, left arm reaches up and over in our gate pose. And then we float back through, finding our modified kind of Vashisthasana position. So it's almost like floating through a warrior two into maybe a little reverse warrior, and then coming back through warrior two, and like when we flow into extended side angle. If you don't know what I'm talking about, that's okay. It's much more about the movement and floating, moving into the side body. So keep moving from one side to the other with your breath. And we'll take the last one on each side. So floating through that gate pose position. And then coming back through into modified Vashisthasana. Hand comes to the block. And then from here, releasing your block if you can. Going to see if you can pivot. So we're bringing that left foot is pivoting in. So moving around into an all fours position, keeping this right leg lengthened. Lift the right leg, reach it out behind. Bend into your right leg. You can start with keeping that right foot flexed. Imagine that right foot's pressing up towards the ceiling. Nice, you could either work here, or maybe that left hand reaches off the mat, reaches forwards. Maybe the left hand comes all the way up and around and finds the right foot or ankle, and you can take this little half bow option. Again, take the option that feels right for you. This is not going to feel good for everyone. Still early on in the practice. Release with control from whichever option you've taken. And meet back in center. Well done. Already starting to feel a little bit more awake. Inhaling and exhaling here. Now taking it onto the left side. So we're going to reach that left leg out to the side. Pivot around on your mat as much as you need to here. Get creative. And then we're going to walk the hands in, come up to high kneeling. Block's going to come over to the right to support you, or that hand can come down to the mat. So left hand comes to left thigh. Inhale, reach the right fingertips up. Exhale, stretch over to the left. Let this right arm flow as well. See if you can make these movements seem as graceful and effortless as possible, even if they don't feel that way. So moving between the two. So coming into your gate pose, stretching over to the left, and then floating through, bringing that right hand down to the block or the mat, stretching over to the right. So keep breathing, keep that breath flowing. Nice, slow and controlled movements. Imagine you're gliding through water as you move. Taking our last one now on each side, sweeping it over to the left, sweeping back over to the right. And then this time, going to see if you can remove that block. You're going to sweep the hands down to the mat, pivot that right leg. So we're in tabletop with the left leg lengthened. Reach the left leg out behind, option to bend that left leg. Maybe seeing if you can flex the foot and imagine that foot's pressing up towards the ceiling. Notice which muscles in the body are switching on maybe as you do this. Either staying here or start to take the right fingertips away from the mat, reaching them forwards. Working here or rotating that right arm around. Maybe it finds the left foot or ankle. Seeing if you can press that foot into the hand back into the foot, finding this kind of half bow position. Breathing. Releasing with control and come back into center, back to all fours. Deep breath here. Under the toes, walk the feet in towards the hands, coming into a forward fold position. But from here, bend into the legs as much as you need to. And on your inhale, lift the chest, sit the hips back, Utkatasana. Draw the belly button in. We're going to float the Utkatasana. So as you exhale, sweeping the arms back, dropping the chest. Inhale, lifting the heart, lifting the hands. Exhale, float the hands back, drop the chest. Inhale, lift the heart, lift the hands. Exhale, floating back. And then release the arms down, just hang down in a forward fold. Let the legs soften, let the head drop. Then on your next inhale, we're going to curl the body up to standing. And then open the arms out to the side. Think about heart lifting. Sweep the arms up to the ceiling. Exhale, bring the hands through to heart center. Take a couple of breaths here, recentering. Notice the connection between your feet and the ground. On your next inhale, sweep the fingertips up, lift your heart. Exhale, fold forwards. Maybe see if you can let the arms flow out to the side as you fold down. Inhale, lift the chest, lengthen the spine, halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward, step the feet back to plank. Work through your version of chaturanga, so that could be inhaling into an upward facing dog or cobra. And then on your exhale, pressing back to downward facing dog. Option to always take a child's pose here, take any other resting pose. Take another releasing breath. Inhale through the nose. Exhale out through the mouth. Inhale, step your right foot through between the hands or in that direction. Reach your fingertips up to the ceiling. Bend into that back leg as much as you need to in your high lunge. Inhale, lift up and out from the waist. Exhale, cactus the arms. Inhale, reach the fingertips up. Exhale, cactus. One more, inhale, reaching up. Exhale, cactus. Bring the hands into heart center, step the back foot in. So we've got right leg at the front lengthened, left toes are pointing out at a slight angle, but hips are still square and shining forward. Sometimes can help to bring the hands to the hips and just check our hips are shining forwards. Inhale, reach the crown of the head to the ceiling. Exhale, start to hinge from the hips, fold forwards, keeping that right hip tucked in, finding your pyramid pose. Now we're going to take our block and bring that block to the outside of the right foot, or you don't have to work with the block, see what's right in your body. So we're going to bring our left hand to the block that's on the outside of the right foot, and then you're either placing the hand on the hip, reaching that right elbow up towards the ceiling, or you could be lengthening that right arm, following with the gaze, revolve Trikonasana. Breathing here. Start to release from the twist, bring the hands back to heart center. Slowly lift the chest, taking deep breaths as you come up. And then ground into your right foot. And start to find Virabhadrasana 3. So we're lifting the back toes away from the mat. So left leg's lifting. You can have a bend in your standing leg, or you can have it straight. Feel into what's right for you. So again, you could be staying much higher up. Maybe you're dropping the chest. Wherever you are, finding a drishti, find a focus point. Imagine that back foot pressing into something behind. Well done. Start to float the hands down to the mat. Take a big step back to plank. And flow through your vinyasa. Inhale into upward facing dog or cobra. And exhale back to your downward facing dog. Option for a child's pose or a resting pose. Inhale, step the left foot through between the hands. Reach the fingertips up, find your high lunge. Lifting up and out from the waist, bend into the back leg as much as you need to. Inhale, reach the fingertips up. Exhale, cactus. Inhale, lifting, reaching the hands up. Exhale, cactus the arms. One more, inhale, reaching up. Exhale, cactus. And then bring the palms of the hands in together at heart center and step your back foot in. So point the right toes out to a slight angle, hips are shining forwards. Inhale, reach the crown of the head upwards. As you exhale, start to fold. Doesn't matter how far down you come, just think about tucking in the left hip. Breathing here. Finding your block if you haven't already. Maybe if you're working with your block, it's placing that block on the outside of your left foot. Bring your right hand to the block. Maybe the hand comes to the hip and that right elbow, it starts to reach up towards the ceiling. Follow with your gaze. Maybe the left fingertips lengthen up towards the ceiling. Breathing here. Staying with your breath. Start to slowly release from the twist. Bring the hands back into heart center. Inhale, lift the chest. Start to come away from the fold. And then ground into your left foot. Watch out for the plants or anything that's there. Find your warrior 3. So again, I'm dropping my chest down here, but you could have your chest more lifted. You could have your hands on some blocks. Just be where you need to be today. That is the most important thing. Listening to your body, trusting your body. There's no option or pose that's better than another. Well done. Start to soften through that leg. Take a big step back to plank. And we'll flow through our final vinyasa, inhaling upward facing dog or cobra. And exhaling back to downward facing dog. Well done. From your downward facing dog, walk your hands in towards the feet. Step your feet out further than hip width apart and point your toes out to the side. Again, grab your block here if you're working with your block today. And then we're going to sit the hips down, find a malasana. So you could be sitting your hips onto a block, onto the mat, or they could be hovering. Hands in heart center, opening across the chest. Opening into the hip space, breathing here. Growing the spine tall. And just releasing that block if you'd had it there. We're going to bring the hips down to the mat. Bring the soles of the feet down and bring the hands to the backs of the thighs. Take a big shoulder roll, open across the heart space. And start to see how it feels to lift the toes away from the mat, so finding our Navasana boat pose. Either you're going to stay and work here, or you're going to bring the hands to the side of the body. Inhale, reach the fingertips up. Keep inhaling, reach the arms out to the side. Exhale, draw them back in. So inhale, reaching up. Exhale, drawing out to the side. Bringing them back in. Reaching up, reaching out, reaching back in. Last one, reaching up, reaching out, drawing the hands back in, holding here. And release the feet back down to the mat. Well done. Step the feet in, take a big hug, let your arms wrap around the legs. Let the head drop down towards the knees. Close the eyes or soften the gaze. Notice where you can feel your body move with your breath. Which parts of you naturally expand and contract back in with your inhale and exhale. Perhaps being curious to see which parts of the body feel alive and awake, and which parts do not. Is there any parts of the body that need a little bit more of your attention today? Just holding your awareness in those parts. Imagine sending those parts your love, your attention, your nourishment. Coming back to any intentions you set at the beginning of this practice. And Sankalpa, intention, is such a powerful thing. You know, intention is the beginning of everything. Intention is where it all starts. Before we move our body, before we speak, before we do anything, it starts with having an intention. And slowly starting to lift the head, open the eyes back up if you had them closed. And just release from your hug. And come back to a comfortable seated position on your mat. Take a couple of big shoulder rolls. And just closing the eyes back down if you'd open them. And we'll close off the practice how we started, with a releasing breath. So I'll count for 3 on the inhale, and then on the exhale you can breathe out through the mouth, and this can be like a big sigh. So inhaling for 1, 2, 3, exhale, let it all go. Thank you so much for being here, joining me in this wake up practice. I hope that it has left you feeling a sense of being alive and awake, but also connecting to your sense of grounding and recentering as well. Do comment and feedback to me on how you've got on. Do subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. And yeah, thank you so much for your support on here, and I really can't wait to flow with you again very, very soon. Bye bye.